When Elon Musk casually made a shocking remark about Jeff Bezos' wife, Lauren Sanchez, no one could have predicted the chaos that followed. Just days later, Musk was suddenly taken to a hospital under unclear circumstances, fueling speculation of retaliation that rippled through Silicon Valley's inner circles. The controversy began with what seemed like a routine online clash between two tech giants. Known for courting attention, Musk dropped cryptic comments about Lauren Sanchez's long-concealed past, details she had apparently gone to great lengths to keep from public view, possibly even from her billionaire husband. The reaction online was immediate, with disbelief spreading quickly. Had Musk really uncovered a scandal tied to one of the world's most influential couples? Jeff Bezos, usually calm and calculated, was reportedly blindsided. He learned of the revelation at the same time as millions of others, his visible reaction telling its own story. A billionaire caught off guard, embarrassed, and forced to face revelations about his wife's past in public. The digital storm ignited instantly. Within minutes of Musk's first post, the story spread across every major platform. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit turned into arenas of speculation and debate. Tech reporters who had long tracked the Musk-Bezos rivalry suddenly found themselves covering the defining story of their careers. The message Musk shared was intentionally vague, yet those familiar with Silicon Valley's dynamics quickly interpreted its meaning. Musk had a history of using social media as a strategic weapon, often targeting competitors, regulators, and critics with notable impact. Still, this incident carried a different weight, more direct, more personal, and potentially riskier. Industry observers who had watched the Musk-Bezos conflict evolve from business competition to personal hostility weren't entirely shocked by the escalation. Over the years, the two had collided on issues ranging from space contracts to electric vehicle dominance, each seeing the other as a fundamental obstacle to their own vision of the future. To fully understand the significance of Musk's disclosure, one must first consider the complex and deeply rooted history between these two figures. Their rivalry traced back to the early years of the private space race, when both SpaceX and Blue Origin were competing for NASA contracts and public visibility. Bezos had launched Blue Origin in 2000, 2 years before Musk created SpaceX. Yet, Musk's company consistently advanced faster, both in technology and public recognition. This imbalance fostered a quiet resentment that often surfaced in disputes over patents, launchpad access, and government deals. The rivalry also grew more personal once both men began dating high-profile women who moved in similar social circles. Musk's relationships with actresses and musicians had long been a favorite subject for tabloids, while Bezos' divorce from Mackenzie Scott and new relationship with Lauren Sanchez pulled the normally private Amazon founder into media glare. Lauren Sanchez quickly became a focal point. To Musk, she embodied everything he could leverage against his competitor. A former TV personality with wide connections in Hollywood and media, she had moved among elite networks for decades before entering Bezos' life. Her experience in entertainment and journalism gave her an understanding of both narrative control and the risks of exposure. What left her particularly open to criticism was the complexity of her personal history and professional ties. Unlike Bezos, whose wealth stemmed from a clear path in tech entrepreneurship, Sanchez had worked in industries where personal relationships, discretionary decisions, and informal agreements were common. Her career had taken her from local news reporting to national entertainment shows, with roles at major networks where she built ties with celebrities, executives, and industry power players. Each step required careful negotiations and strategic alliances that, while legitimate and appropriate at the time, could later be reframed as questionable under harsh public scrutiny. The reality beneath the image. Based on Musk's claimed insider knowledge, Sanchez was more than just a glamorous media figure partnered with one of the world's richest men. He suggested she had links to past controversies involving influential people, undisclosed relationships, and business matters that could pose serious risks to Bezos' standing. Though Musk never provided full details in his early comments, the hints in his language were enough to spark speculation. The sensational rumors spread rapidly, with media outlets racing to verify the cryptic suggestions Musk had made. Both supporters and critics questioned his motives. Was he intentionally fueling controversy, or was he sincerely worried about hidden issues surrounding Bezos' relationship? The subsequent inquiry uncovered a pattern of personal ties and business dealings which, though not explicitly illegal or unethical, posed potential risks for someone married to a public figure of Bezos' stature. Industry insiders soon began disclosing previously undisclosed details about Sanchez's professional path, pointing to instances where personal and career boundaries may have become blurred within the entertainment world. Among Musk's claims, one of the most impactful centered on Sanchez's broad network across Hollywood. Her years as a television personality had introduced her to producers, executives, and celebrities operating in an environment often defined by exchanges of influence, favors, and reciprocal arrangements. Several former associates, speaking anonymously, described a culture where career progress often relied on personal connections and where the line between professional networking and private involvement was intentionally vague. According to these accounts, Sanchez was notably adept at maneuvering through this unclear landscape. A particularly controversial claim tied her to a prominent Hollywood producer later implicated in a major scandal. Although no misconduct was linked directly to Sanchez, her association prompted concerns about her decision-making and the possibility of future embarrassment or legal complications for Bezos. The political angle added another layer of concern. More unsettling for Bezos were suggestions regarding Sanchez's connections with politicians and lobbyists. Her media background had naturally brought her into contact with political figures and their staff, but some of these relationships appeared to continue beyond typical professional interactions. Sources close to the inquiry indicated that Sanchez maintained ties with several political operatives who were later entangled in ethics scandals or legal issues. While again, no evidence of direct wrongdoing was presented, the potential for reputational damage through association posed a significant risk for someone in Bezos' position, Amazon's. Complicated ties with federal regulators and lawmakers made any hint of political misconduct especially risky. The company was already facing scrutiny over its dominance in the market, treatment of workers, and tax practices. Adding personal issues from Bezos' life only gave critics and investigators more material to pursue. Bezos' anger became clear. Known for maintaining calm during both corporate and personal controversies, he typically managed pressure with calculated restraint. But Elon Musk's unexpected revelation about Lauren Sanchez provoked a rare reaction: open frustration. Those close to Bezos described him as stunned, moving quickly from disbelief to anger and finally to embarrassment. The fact that the disclosure came from Musk, his rival in the space industry, made the situation even more difficult to accept. Unlike their past disputes, however, Bezos' frustration wasn't directed at Musk. Instead, it centered on Sanchez, whom he felt had deliberately withheld information that affected both his personal life and business interests. Witnesses said the confrontation between Bezos and Sanchez was unlike anything seen before in their relationship. Usually rational and methodical when facing problems, Bezos became openly emotional and accusatory. For him, the issue was not only the undisclosed details, but also the lack of trust from Sanchez in sharing matters that could influence their partnership and his broader reputation. The private inquiry began shortly after. Musk's cryptic social media posts gained attention worldwide. Reports suggest Bezos demanded clear answers from Sanchez, but when her explanations fell short, he chose a highly unusual step, hiring a private investigation firm to conduct a detailed review of her background. The firm, known for handling executive-level background checks and corporate security, carried out an extensive inquiry that went beyond anything Bezos had arranged before entering the relationship. They interviewed former colleagues, professional contacts, and personal acquaintances to better understand Sanchez's history and associations. The results painted a picture of someone skilled at navigating influential circles while maintaining discretion about the depth of her connections. While investigators found no evidence of criminal behavior or major ethical violations, the review revealed a series of relationships and arrangements that left Bezos deeply unsettled. The media storm continued to grow. Friends who observed the couple privately noted that Bezos felt deeply deceived. He was uncovering aspects of his wife's past at the same time as millions of onlookers. Publicly, Bezos's team quickly rejected Musk's remarks as unfounded speculation meant to create controversy. Behind the scenes, however, the impact was already significant. Insiders revealed Bezos was furious, embarrassed by the suggestion that details from Sanchez's history had escaped his notice, threatening the image he worked hard to preserve. The press reaction was immediate and relentless. Entertainment outlets, business journals, and technology blogs rushed to explore every angle. Reporters began contacting people who had worked with or known Sanchez, hoping to verify or challenge Musk's claims. Investigations soon pointed to hidden connections, suggesting Sanchez's past involved complicated ties with influential figures who had allegedly helped her avoid unwanted attention, relationships Bezos had no awareness of. News organizations started combing through Sanchez's background, revisiting overlooked details such as her sudden departures from high-profile roles and rumored but unproven links to controversies involving corporate and political figures. The main point of Musk's disclosure, as sources clarified, was that Lauren Sanchez's history contained associations and unresolved scandals that could present real risks, matters Bezos truly did not know about. Those close to the billionaire acknowledged that despite his careful approach to both business and personal life, Bezos had not investigated Sanchez's background beyond what she chose to share. One particularly concerning connection was with a former business partner later tied to a financial scandal. Although Sanchez had ended the partnership before legal issues surfaced, the link raised doubts about her decision-making and openness regarding sensitive past associations. In Silicon Valley, the fallout was immediate. The news unsettled the close network of entrepreneurs, investors, and executives. With many maintaining relationships with both Musk and Bezos, the revelations created a difficult situation where showing support for either side carried professional risks. Some supported Sanchez's right to privacy and argued that Musk had crossed ethical limits with what they viewed as a personal attack. Others, however, quietly raised concerns about the potential impact on Amazon and the wider tech sector if the controversy continued to grow. Venture capitalists and startup leaders found themselves having to address the issue while still preserving ties with both sides. The situation became especially challenging for those doing business with both Tesla and Amazon, as they worried about being drawn into an increasingly personal conflict. Public attention intensified after Musk's disclosure, with reactions ranging from intrigue to suspicion and doubt. Social media quickly filled with conspiracy theories and allegations, splitting users between defending Sanchez's privacy and demanding openness from the partner of one of the world's most powerful business leaders. The once well-regarded media figure was, in some circles, labeled manipulative and accused of possibly deceiving Bezos for personal advantage. Others, however, pointed to Bezos, questioning whether he had failed to properly examine his partner's history. Surveys conducted in the aftermath revealed strong demographic divides. Younger participants were more likely to view the situation as an invasion of privacy and to disapprove of Musk's approach. In contrast, older respondents and those in business fields tended to side with Bezos, expressing concern over Sanchez's lack of disclosure. Just days after releasing his statement about Lauren Sanchez, Elon Musk faced a sudden and unexplained health issue, leading to his emergency hospitalization amid speculation of possible poisoning. The timing raised immediate doubts about retaliation, fueling online theories about whether his disclosure had gone too far and triggered a warning from influential opponents. Within hours, Musk's health scare had overtaken even the Bezos controversy, alarming his supporters and increasing scrutiny of those seen as his adversaries. The incident occurred during what was expected to be a routine day at Tesla headquarters. Musk had been scheduled to participate in multiple meetings and a product showcase when he suddenly fell seriously ill. Witnesses described symptoms resembling poisoning, including nausea, confusion, and breathing difficulties. Emergency responders arrived quickly, and Musk was transported to a nearby hospital, where he was admitted to intensive care. The hospital later issued a carefully worded statement, noting only that he was receiving treatment for an acute illness and was in stable condition. An investigation was launched immediately. Rumors spread quickly, intensified by vague comments from Musk's close associates, who claimed he had been warned several times not to disclose sensitive information tied to influential figures. Media outlets began questioning whether this could be a case of deliberate sabotage or poisoning, which only increased speculation about possible motives and individuals who might have wanted him silenced. Federal investigators discreetly opened a probe into the circumstances of Musk's illness. Although no direct evidence of foul play was established at first, his timing and prominence made a full investigation unavoidable. Security footage from Tesla's headquarters was examined, and every person who had interacted with Musk in the hours leading up to the incident was questioned. His food and drinks from that day underwent toxicology testing, while his security team was interviewed about unusual activity or potential threats. Officials remained cautious in public comments, avoiding any confirmation of foul play, but sources privately indicated that the matter was being treated with serious suspicion. The timing raised further concerns. Musk had recently revealed information damaging enough to disrupt Jeff Bezos' personal reputation. Insiders suggested that Bezos' legal team had begun an internal review, quietly looking into Sanchez's prior connections, and activities to evaluate whether these disclosures might lead to legal or public relations consequences for Amazon or Blue Origin. The corporate risks were significant. Amazon's stock price had already shown volatility amid speculation over the scandal's potential impact. Investors feared an extended controversy could distract Bezos from his leadership role and potentially invite regulatory attention or lawsuits. Blue Origin faced similar risks, given its reliance on government partnerships and contracts. Even the perception of questionable behavior linked to Bezos could jeopardize opportunities and strain relations with critical partners. The billionaire, once celebrated for building wealth by predicting risks before they appeared, was now forced into a defensive role. The lesson: secrets come at a cost. In the guarded world of billionaires, some truths are simply too volatile to remain hidden. The Musk-Bezos-Sanchez entanglement turned into a cautionary example of what happens when private matters collide with an era defined by nonstop connectivity and instant information. Regardless of whether Musk acted out of principle or strategy, his disclosure achieved something unexpected. It cast Jeff Bezos in a more relatable light than any business dispute ever had. The man who revolutionized e-commerce and space travel was suddenly exposed to a timeless weakness, placing his trust in the wrong person on a personal level. When the controversy settled, one reality stood out. In the high-stakes realm of billionaire relationships, the past rarely disappears, and the greatest risks can come from those closest to you. The episode highlights that wealth and power cannot shield anyone from betrayal, heartbreak, or the fallout of concealed truths. In Silicon Valley's competitive environment, where knowledge is, influence and secrets are traded like currency. Even the most guarded figures can find themselves vulnerable. The Musk-Bezos conflict confirmed that in today's digital age, privacy is fragile, and history is always just one online post away from resurfacing.